Greetings, my fellow freedom sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful realms of planet Earth. Today's date is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. This is episode 1947. Trump administration opposes Wyoming bill to nullify gun control. Before I proceed, you can follow me on multiple social media sites and podcast channels. Just type in Looky Luck number 3, Looky Luck Roman number 3 with 3 eyes, or the Looky Luck Roman number 3 podcast. In addition, if you have any questions, comments, recommendations, all that good stuff, whatever you do, please use Decorum. Hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me. If you want to donate, go to PayPal me or Cash Out app /Looky Luck number 3. Well, hopefully, everyone having a great St. Patrick's Day, paying homage to a man that stood on principle. And I know in Ireland, it's a national holiday. To all the folks out there who want to get drunk, it's not more than a sacrilegious practice, I can say. You know, always got to know the history of what this holiday is all about. And you can respect it, honor it, and share it to others. Typical chaos as usual. More wars continue. Claim that Benjamin Netanyahu is dead, allegedly. And want that Club of Rome really bad. People posting pathetic memes. Believe that getting rid of one man as a political leader, you'll be free. Yeah, all right. Being a faction slave really pays off. Come on, folks. Always got to look at things a lot bigger than what it is. We need to be more vigilant when it comes to technocracy, police state surveillances, etc. Doesn't matter where you're at. It's trying to lock us down into a prison planet. But there's one thing I can say is an interesting time to be alive. Well, don't complain. Do something. Prepare. Decentralize yourselves to the best of your ability. If others don't want that, that's their own destiny. You shouldn't drag them in. Hate to say that, but it is the truth. Well, without further ado here, I'm going to be reading something from the newamerican.com. This caught my eye. This was called Trump administration opposes Wyoming bill to nullify gun control. Came out today by Peter Rykowski. As it reads, the Trump administration has formally opposed a Wyoming bill to nullify federal gun control. Senate File SF-101, which was considered during the 2026 budget session, would have amended Wyoming's existing Second Amendment Protection Act, or SAPA, largely clarifying the bill to make it more enforceable. According to Gun Owners of America, it would have created a clear path to take state and local agencies or departments to civil court for damages, amounting to a huge deterrent to local cooperation with federal gun control because of the potential impact on budgets. Wyoming Senate President Bo Beitman from Ranchester, which is a Republican, noted that the originally passed SAPA had a few gaps in it, which SF-101 would have filled. Although the legislation passed SF-101, Governor Mark Gordon vetoed the bill, arguing that it would have a stifling impact on state and local partnerships with federal law enforcement agencies. He also vetoed a similar bill last year. GOA described the veto as a disappointing surrender to federal interests, arguing that Gordon has chosen to prioritize the demands of federal agencies over the clear will of the legislator and the protections of the Second Amendment. Wyoming passed a bill that was signed into law, was the Wyoming Sovereign State Act. I'm going to have to look that up. I should have done this in the beginning. So I'll find it later. If not, you can share that with me. That'd be great. Administration opposition. Notably, the Trump administration publicly opposed the bill. In a letter to Gordon, Todd Lyons, the acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, wrote, "Many of the most serious gun crimes today, international firearms trafficking, cross-border smuggling, terrorist cartel-linked straw purchasing, airport security violations, and financial crimes tied to arms trafficking are primarily federal offenses. Many of these cases, Wyoming law has no parallel statute at all. Without federal cooperation, these serious crimes may never be prosecuted. At a time when criminals operate across state lines and international borders, the answer cannot be divided law enforcement. Public safety depends on cooperation between federal, state, and local authorities working together to stop crime and protect our communities. Well, I can say this. There's things they can do, okay, that will work with the federal government. Treason, counterfeiting, and piracy. So I'm just going to continue on here. Jury responded by arguing that the governor and federal agencies are engaging in fear-mongering rather than an honest reading of the law, and that SF 101 would not prevent the federal government from combating international smuggling and cartel networks. Yes, you got to have a drama queens will be out there. Drama queens on the prowl, right? However, does this one make sense? So like I said, they can work together on this. It's mainly called piracy, all right? These dicklebears don't want you to know that. And I'll continue on. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time the Trump administration has undermined the Second Amendment. In a November 2025 federal court filing, for example, the U.S. Department of Justice defended the National Firearms Act of 1934, taking expansive positions on both gun control and federal power. Why? President Donald Trump himself has previously made comments contrary to the text of the Second Amendment. Nullification is the answer. Lyon's letter portrays SF 101 as a dangerous and irresponsible bill. However, it ignores the fact that federal law enforcement, not being an enumerated power under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, is inherently unconstitutional and threatens the independence of states and local law enforcement. States have a sovereign duty to nullify all unconstitutional federal acts, something that SF 101 would help accomplish. The letter also inadvertently acknowledges that state nullification is effective. By using to assist the federal government in enforcing unconstitutional laws, states can make significant impact in protecting their citizens. Instead of acting as junior partners to the federal government, states must reassert their sovereignty, including by nullifying unconstitutional federal acts and rejecting federal funding. And that is absolutely true. And here's a little lesson here. We can talk. Remember that Brady Law? Okay? The Brady Law? And it was challenged by Sheriff Prince and Mack. Yeah, a lot of people have to remember that. And it happened in 1997, serves as the linchpin for the Anti-Commandeering Doctrine. At issue was a provision in the Brady gun law that required county law enforcement officers to administer part of the background check program. Sheriffs J. Prince and Sheriff Mack sued, arguing these provisions unconstitutionally forced them to administer a federal program. Justice Antonio Scalia agreed, writing the majority opinion. It is apparent that the Brady Act purports to direct state law enforcement officers to participate, albeit only temporarily, in the administration of a federally enacted regulatory scheme. Citing the New York case, the court majority declared that this provision of the Brady gun bill unconstitutional, expanding the reach of the Anti-Commandeering Doctrine. We held in New York that Congress could compel the states to enact or enforce a federal regulatory program. Today, we hold that Congress cannot circumvent that prohibition by conscripting the states. Offers directly, the federal government may neither issue directives requiring the state to address particular problems, nor command the state's officers or those of their political subdivisions to administer or enforce a federal regulatory program. It matters not whether policymaking is involved, and no case-by-case weighing of the burdens or benefits is necessary, which commands are fundamentally incompatible with our constitutional system of dual sovereignty. And they even use here, if I'm correct, Fellows Papers 46, written by James Madison. So it's good to know these things, folks. And this is why sometimes I just get a good chuckle, when I hear this rhetoric. It's nothing new if it's Democrat, Republican. And this is why I always get, a big kick out of these things. And another thing we have to look at, too, is the history lesson that happened with Prohibition, why the 18th Amendment got repealed. Well, the states and cities, municipalities refused to enforce it because it can say violates the 9th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. As Maryland spearheaded it. And in due time, they couldn't get cooperation with the state and local authorities. That's one of the reasons why they repealed that law, which is still null and void. But so it's always good to know these things. And hey, give Wyoming a thumbs up. I like it because, like I see what's going on in Illinois when they do the semi-auto ban. They should do the same thing in Virginia. Okay, you got you folks out there got the Virginia Resolution. Utilize that. Of course, your state Bill of Rights with these pathetic laws. And federal law does not supersede state law if it's unconstitutional. Plain and simple. Well, that's the truth. And hopefully I'd love to hear from you. So I'm going to leave those 2 footnotes there. And let me see. I will add one more thing I'm going to add here would be the 10th Amendment on nullification. They'll give you a little video history on this. And you could actually check them out. Good stuff. So I recommend people out there to look at these websites and their channels. And trust me, educating yourself and sharing with others is half the battle when it comes to the information war. Well, that will be it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, and all that good stuff, wherever you do, please use decorum. You can hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me if you want to donate. Go to paypal.me or cash.app/look3. If you want to support the 10th Amendment Center, the New American, that'd be very cool. Check them out. Tell them LL3 or Look Like the Third sent you. LL3, you can do that too. Once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.